Okay.
How close is that?
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty close.
Really? Okay.
Who do you think is the best person to take care of residents of the street?
Well, I think everybody should be their own personal advocate, my friend, so it starts with you yourself, then your neighbor.
Okay, so what makes street clubs better for that?
Street clubs, as I envision them, create a situation where there is an open permission to speak freely with your neighbors that may not necessarily be there in the first place.
So the street clubs are going to be like a McDonald's or something?
They're not a McDonald's. What street clubs really are is a situation where the members of the street club have demonstrated and taken a personal interest in what's going on. And by that acknowledgement of the street club, there's a certain entitlement to be able to discuss situations with the neighbors that you may not feel if it's just me down the street from you.
So
there comes a certain authority, not the word I'm looking for, but that comes with the affiliation of, hey, Mr. Wilson, I'm with the 37th Street Club. We need to talk with you about something going on.
So you think that by having a mutual affiliation with the organization will give me confidence that you've been scrutinized somewhat so I can talk to you freely?
Well, no. One of the things that you run into is people are very apprehensive to somehow accost or speak with a neighbor that you don't know, especially when it might be an unpleasant or corrective conversation. Okay? So let's go back to personal experience with my own life. My wife was very involved with dog parks. They had a very hard time getting people to pick up after their dog. Some person who said, hey, your dog went, they had a well so. They thought the park cleaned up. So they started a dog park ambassador program. It was a training class, a couple hours, and everybody who took it got a badge with their name on it and said ambassador. That ambassador badge, when they walked up to somebody whose dog just did what dogs do, they had never got any grief. That badge made them authorized to have a polite, civil conversation about the way you behave at a dog park, which is, sir, hey, your dog over there did something, here's a bag, we don't care which one you get, just get one. If they had the badge on, there was never any grief, there was never any back talk. Without that badge, who the heck are you to tell me what to do? Street clubs are going to be kind of that badge, all right? And we're not looking for neighborhood watch, we're not looking for vigilante law enforcement, we're looking for someone to go, hey, look, we have a problem going on here. Your kid's doing something, this mess over here, this car needs to go, whatever it is that needs to be done, the ability to feel authorized to have that conversation with someone is what I think a street club gives its members. I have a concern at a high enough level that is not personal. It's professional for our street. You and I ought to have a nice talk.
Okay, so you're not going to be dealing with crime.
Well, I think you're going to run into it. But it's not what we're about. That's what a phone and 911's for. Please call the police.
Okay, what about the computers themselves? How are you going to communicate?
Who?
The computers. How are you going to communicate?
What computers?
If I don't have a computer, I don't know how to use one.
Well, I'm encouraging street clubs. I mean, the first thing you need to do is get the word out. Who are we? What are we? We're not a biker gang, okay? We're neighbors on the street sharing the same concerns as you. Once the concept and the idea what a street club is gets, that's when you start tacking posters to the telephone poles. That's when you start going to your friendly neighborhood business. May I please make 100 copies? Here's the paper. There's no small businessman I can think of who wouldn't let you do that. That's when you stick them, attach them to the mailbox. You put them on the telephone poles. You get the word out to the neighborhood. Look, we've got our first meeting. Everybody come, let's get to know each other.
Okay. If I'm a shut-in, how do I get involved in your street club?
Well, shut-in might have to walk out. God forbid. I don't think shut-ins want to be shut-ins.
Okay.
And a shut-in can still watch the street from their front porch, can't they?
Okay. How does this affect the problems that we're having today?
Well, I think a large portion of the problems we have today where I come from is someone else. Well, someone ought to do something about it. There ought to be a law. No, I ought to do something about it. There doesn't need to be a law. Common sense people can make common sense decisions.
So you're saying that we should bear the burden of the responsibility of our own neighborhoods on our own shoulders.
As much as humanly possible, absolutely.
Okay, how do you think that we're going to get in as a member?
As a member.
How will I get information?
Well, we got the website, meetings start, you attend the meetings, the information is going to get out. We have designed street clubs as much as possible to facilitate not only face-to-face, but the digital interactions to boot, so you can follow what all's happening along your street.
Do you believe that this could be something bigger than just our local area?
Well, I think that all organizations start out local, and as they grow, they have greater affiliations that tend to tie in. So yeah, absolutely.
How do you see this helping the suburbanite?
Well, the suburbanite has no different issues than the urban or the rural. I mean, there are things that should be done, could be done to make your neighborhood, your street, your house a better place to live. And any time that citizens are willing to step up and solve their own problems, it's far more efficient. It's a far more practical solution than when we start getting, the elected officials, government programs, God forbid law enforcement or whoever gets involved. Government is very heavy-handed in what it does. Citizens can have tact.
Okay. What about the urban areas?
Well, again, I think that streets are local to the street, right? It doesn't matter where you live. You got the same issues. You want the same things.
And that means rural also.
Rural, suburban, urban. I don't care if you're living in a subdivision with 4 floor plans that are mirrored of each other, if you're living in custom, semi-custom, or you're living in row homes in Philadelphia, for heaven's sakes. You still have the same issues. Are my streets safe? Are my streets clean? Do I feel comfortable walking at night? Would I let my kids play outside? These are the things that we need to get achieved. And the answer needs to be yes to each of them.
Okay. How do we get funded for this? How much is it going to cost me?
Well, the buy-in's minimal. We made that on purpose. We obviously need revenue to continue to support the program and the process. But look, we don't want it to be expensive to any member. We don't want it to be expensive to any founders. But Street Clubs USA is designed to support itself.
And by supporting yourself, you mean you won't be getting loans?
Well, we might have to get some loans to start up, but that's not the plan. We surely hope that through the membership sales and the recurring purchases of the items that are available through our website, that the revenue streams are going to come in by nothing more than changing a shopping behavior. You're buying the Ivory soap either way, might as well get it from our website.
And what do you think is going to be a difference in cost?
Well, there should be no difference in cost, or it should indeed go down. I mean, the cost of a retail footprint, to have a store, to have the clerks, to have the cashiers, to have the bags, all of that comes with money. At least when you're getting it direct from the distributor, a lot of the retail costs get taken away, and hey, it shows up on your front door.
So I can actually buy food and clothing from my Street Club
Well,
page?
my own humble opinion on food over the internet is if it's perishable, please don't. But canned food, paper goods, detergent, cleaning supplies, clothes, electronics, so many things ship so fine that, where you buy them from and how they get to your house really shouldn't be a big concern.
And so you endorse the idea of having materials shipped to my home.
I buy stuff from the internet all the time.
Do you think this is what the future holds for us?
Well, I think part of it, absolutely, it's going this way. Let's face it, the time involved to go shopping, the gasoline, the drive back. If my time's worth anything, the time in the store. Additionally, let's face it, you get in that store, those impulse buys occur, and you went in with a list of 12 items and you came home with 24. You might save some money not only on the hard price of the one item, but by not buying those 12 extra things you never set out to buy in the first place. It's hard to impulse buy on the internet. It's real easy to do it at the store, indeed. They know to put it right at eye level, the biggest margin products, and by the way, the supermarket is laid out so you have to go through every aisle.
Wow. That's it.
And the battery said